The Shark Bay World Heritage Area is a haven for marine life. It has some beautiful beaches. It has the Francois Peron National Park, and it also has the most westerly tip of Western Australia. Our first stop was Hamlin Pool, where we visited the historic shell quarry. In years gone by, they made building blocks from the tiny shells found around here. Some of these blocks can be seen in the buildings still today. This is a view of the historic quarry from the air. Quite impressive, really. There are some stromatolites at Hamlin Pool as well, but unfortunately they're not visible from the shore, and the boardwalk was destroyed a few years ago in the cyclone. Shark Bay is one of the Earth's saltiest marine environments. This is Shell Beach, where the beach is made up of millions of tiny little white shells. It was so much fun just throwing them around. But it was also weird having a crunching sound underfoot instead of the usual soft sand. And from here we drove north up into the Francois Peron National Park. This is where the red sand meets the sea. We moved camp to Big Lagoon Campground, and it's tyres down to get there. Big Lagoon Campground is the only campground suitable for caravans. You can kayak in Big Lagoon or use your stand-up paddleboard if you like, and there are some beautiful views from the sand dunes around the place too. The campground has these great sunset viewing platforms. They're not for setting up a tent on, they are just for bringing your chair and enjoying the view at that perfect time of the day. The next day we left the van back at camp and we took a drive up to Cape Peron. There's some areas of soft sand and then you reach the clay pan. Warning signs advise vehicles to stay on the tracks as you can get bogged in the clay. But then again, these sandy sections are so soft that you can also get bogged here too. It was so bouncy, a sports bra came in handy. The tiny thorny devil is common in this area, but the only one we could find was this stuffed one at the visitor centre. We reached the top and we were greeted by those red sands and those beautiful clear waters that the Francois Peron National Park is known for. This viewing platform was a great spot to view the marine life down below in the waters. We watched this giant ray float around for a while, but we also saw sharks and fish and lots of cormorants airing their wings too. Just check out the colour in those red cliffs. We had to give way to some emus on our drive back to camp. When exiting the Francois National Park, there's this great area here to inflate your tyres. It makes it so much easier than getting our compressor out. This is the Francois Peron precinct. It's two-wheel drive to get here, right at the base of the park, and there's hot thermal springs. It was raining, so that meant there weren't any other tourists around, but it didn't stop us getting in for a swim. From here we stayed in Denham. Denham has two caravan parks. We stayed in this one with a great view. It also has pubs, cafes and restaurants and groceries and everything else you could need. Ocean Park is a small little family-run aquarium which is worth a visit. All the guides are passionate and everyone gets a guided tour. This was really cool to see. This is Lexi, a juvenile shark, and just listen to how passionate the guide is.
Oh my god, she's going for a feed!
guide was so excited because this is the first time that Lexi had taken her own fish instead of relying on Mum. Our next place to visit was Monkey Mia. There's some dolphin stats from the last few days. I wonder how we'll go today. The first marine creature we spotted was a turtle. But it didn't take long for the dolphins to appear. As we were waiting for the feeding, we were given a full commentary.
Someone's got a fish by the looks of it.
It was explained to us that the dolphins were catching their own food, and what we just saw then was one of them catching a fish. The tourists gathered on the shore, and the only people that were to feed the dolphins were the volunteer university students doing marine biology. See the Monkey Mia staff member on the left? She's keeping the pelicans away from the fish. After the feeding, the dolphins continued to frolic around on the shore, and you could stay and watch them for as long as you liked. We couldn't stay and watch too long though, because our boat, the Aristocat 2, was waiting to take us dugong spotting. An estimated 10,000 dugongs live in the bay here, which is 10% of the world's population. So with those numbers, we were really confident that we'd see some today. There's one. It was a 1.5 hour cruise, and unfortunately for us, we only saw 2 dugongs during that time. There's the other one there. But we did have plenty of dolphins who came along for the ride. The weather wasn't perfect, it was really cold and raining at times, but these tourists didn't care. They got in the boom net anyway. This is a 24-hour campground called Eagle Bluff, run by the council. There's a small cost for a permit, but check out this amazing view. It was one of the highlights of our stay in the Shark Bay area. We went walking along the beach here and we saw dozens of small sharks just metres from the beach. Eagle Bluff has a great boardwalk, giving you views of the bluff from up high. This guy was drying himself off, and this guy, he was on the lookout for a feed. After our great stopover at the 24-hour camp at Eagle Bluff, we moved camp to Hamlin Pool Station. Steep Point is the most westerly point on the mainland of Western Australia, and Hamlin Pool Station is the closest camp for caravans. Even though Steep Point is only 148 k's, it's pretty slow going, and it's a 6-hour return trip. This is the entrance to the national park, and the road up until here was pretty good. Not far after here though is where the road deteriorated. The last 43 kilometres consisted of soft narrow lane tracks, lots of corrugations and some beach driving. Those corrugations were relentless, and that last 43 kilometres took us almost 2 hours. By the time you hit the sand driving, you're almost there. And what a great feeling it is, we finally made it to the most westerly point of Australia. While you're at Steep Point, there's also lots of caves and rocks to explore. And check out those gorgeous colours. We decided that was the perfect place to stop for lunch. We cooked up some Chico rolls on the gas burner, and they were delicious. While we were having lunch, we watched this osprey having a bath. He wasn't bothered by us at all. Then it was time to make the trip back to camp. Along this section there's some campsites for camper trailers, tents and swags. There is a bit of winding through sand dunes in this coastal section, but this is by far the prettiest part of the drive. After this section, it's back to those corrugations. Our tyres were already reduced to 20 psi, but Glenn got out and just tightened a few bolts and things because we knew what we were in for the return trip. And what a great day out it's been. Not everyone gets to go to Steep Point. All in all, we've spent 12 days in the Shark Bay World Heritage Area and we loved every minute of it.